Tonight, with your permission, going to speak something about this mysterious plane of experience called the realm of the heart. And this is a current theme I've been meditating on for a while now. So Lord Chaitanya, our Savior, the dual incarnation of Radha-Krishna, or we could say the united incarnation of Radha-Krishna, he recommended in this age the practice of chanting the names of Krishna. But not Krishna alone, Krishna with all his divine potencies. That means all the forms of Sri Radha, all her expansions, all her gopis. He said, all of Krishna's potencies are in his name. That means Krishna is not alone in his name. He is with Srimati Radhika and all her expansions. And he gave us 8 verses as his gift to this world. And the very first word is the word in Sanskrit used for not specifically the heart, but the heart as a plane of awareness. Chaito, and then he said darpana, the mirror, and then he said marjanam, cleansing. So that's his first words. He gave many teachings and many instructions to his followers, but what he kept as the encapsulation of his message for us throughout the history of his lineage begins with this word Chaito. I want to meditate on this as our topic and then dive into that mystical plane of experience which is the realm of the heart. It's not a physical plane of existence because it's a part of our consciousness. That's why it's Chaito. He's not just saying Hridaya Darpana Marjanam. He's saying Chaito Darpana Marjanam. And the Chaita is like the mirror to the heart, you could say, because that's the next word used. He's not just saying heart Darpana Marjanam, Hridaya. He's saying Chaito Darpana Marjanam. And so he's connecting this idea of the heart as a conscious mirror. We talk about mirroring in psychology. So I want to dive into this meditation, and then from there we'll go into an introduction to what we meditate on in the realm of the heart, which is the names, forms, qualities, and pastimes of the beloved Sri Radha and Krishna as something that manifests there. And this has been a topic of my interest since I joined the temple in 2005 as a monk, because I saw this exemplified in my teacher there, our teacher, I think, how this person was constantly absorbed in loving service and engagement, while always, what can you say, besides kind of like floating above the earth by a few inches. Very grounded, but also very angelic. Fully absorbed in what we call Krishna consciousness, like our Goswamis. So I would always see this, and I understood this about his nature. And it's something I had heard about from Srila Gurudev since being a boy. How is it that these sages, Krishna describes them to be like sages, how they are fully present in the world while not being of the world at the same time. Fully in control of their senses because they're transcendent to them as well, you could say. And I think it's only by the mercy of such personalities who are truly transcendentally situated, that means situated not just above the modes of material nature, but above their mind and body in their spiritual senses. It's only by their mercy that we can really, you could say, gain that transcendental ground. We've talked about this in a few talks, but not in detail, so I'll just kind of place this down and part of the foundation of our understanding here. A lot of spiritual practice is aimed at controlling your mind and senses, but what we've discussed is that what's the goal of that? Without a goal, you're just becoming less active as a soul or as an experiencer. To be self-control means to become more like a rock, to go into lower consciousness or higher consciousness. What's the goal of your self-control? Just to be static? So we say, no, the goal is not to be static, it's to be ecstatic, to transcend. Krishna says, don't just try to get rid of the lower taste, achieve the higher taste. And then the lower taste is naturally controlled. The lower impulse is naturally subliminated. So the goal of our spiritual practice isn't to become nothing or isn't to become motionless as a soul. The soul is naturally active, dynamic. And so therefore also when we achieve the goal of our meditation, it's not a static place of stillness. That, oh, now I've achieved the success, I've calmed my restless mind. Because a lot of spiritual practitioners think, if I can just calm the restless mind, if I just look at a candle long enough, I can learn to be still. If I can just stare at the tip of my nose long enough, I can learn to be motionless. And then I've achieved success in meditation, because my restless mind has become still. And we say, what is the use of your stillness? A rock is very still. So that is not our goal. Our gurus describe this reality like the shadow of a tree projected upon a river, indicating the spiritual nature of a higher existence. And so all the varieties of experience in this world have their source in a higher plane. So anyhow, what I wanted to mention just as an introduction is that we also heard this morning when we were discussing Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, first verses, that Krishna says, and the commentators describe, that it's not by our own practice that we achieve bhakti. And then I read this afternoon when I was going over our Gurudev's lectures. This is a volume between 91 and 95. I was going over through 91 and 95. Our Vrindavan Brahmacharis transcribed them so nicely, so I was picking out quotes for the back cover. And this quote really struck me. He said, after the stage of Ashakti is reached, there is no more practice. There's no sadhana. The only sadhana then is not really a sadhana. It's waiting for the blessing or the mercy of the person in that spiritual position to give you entrance into the cherished aspiration. So that becomes your only sadhana. And he said, it's not really a sadhana, it's just waiting. So I also wanted to talk about that. I know in my life I have no merit or no qualification, despite the except for the good fortune of my association, I have no other qualification. My qualification is only my good fortune. And it's something I would say Raghunath Das also prays. He says to Giriraj, "O Giriraj, please grant me residence by your side." And in the, I believe, 11th verse or 10th verse, maybe it's the 10th verse, he gives all these reasons why he wants to be there and he's praying, but then he says, because Lord Chaitanya recommended me, you should grant me residence by your side, despite my fallen nature. And Lord Chaitanya recommended him because Lord Nityananda recommended him, Guru. And so I would just like to say that this plane of experience of the conscious realm of the heart, which is on the platform of the spirit, it's a realm that is open to you by the grace of the true master. You could say someone opens that door for you, invites you in. And for us, what to speak of opening that door for us, someone has to show you the door. Like in the Bible it said, knock and the door shall open. Yeah, but you have to find the door first. You know, the door to the Kunja Grove of Radha-Krishna is not easily found. They have expert, the Yogamaya principle, the principle of the Lord's internal potency, is expert at hiding the hidden, it's called the hidden grove of Radha-Krishna's pastimes. So that's not easy to find. But I would consider that plane of experience, that hidden grove, is the realm of the heart of the perfected soul. That they are fully situated in that place. They carry that with them. And that's why the clock of the Eightfold Daily Pastimes of Radha-Krishna sets according to wherever the Vaishnava is present. So that's what goes on in the realm of their heart. So that's why I'm saying the divine couple and the soul are ecstatic, not static. The goal of the meditation is entrance into the ecstatic pastimes of Radha-Krishna. And where are those going on? Where is Vrindavan most present right now? Wherever the pure devotee is, that's where Vrindavan is most present. That's why it said that that song we sang, that Krishna is always resting in the heart of the sadhu. Krishna says the sadhu is more dear to me than my own brother. He's the most dear to me. So those sadhus, they're situated in that place where, like we say, Krishna's pastimes are ever fresh. Why? Any sadhu, through the stage of practice, who's achieved siddhi, perfection, then their heart becomes a new kunj for Radha Krishna's pastimes. A new kunj, nava kunj. There's the nitya siddhas, that means eternally perfected. Each of their hearts is a kunj. It's a fractal reality where there's unlimited associates and Radha Krishna expand unlimitedly. But for any practitioner who achieves that position, their heart then becomes a new kunj. And then Radha Krishna's pastimes expand again. So, therefore we say, Krishna se tomar, Krishna dite par, tomara shakati ache, amito kangal, Krishna Krishna bholi dhai tava pache. I am simply running behind you praying that Krishna is yours, you have the power to give Krishna, please when we bestow Krishna upon me. This is our essential conception, that we are not trying to climb our way up to the spiritual world, we are praying for those drops of mercy, that we can relish one drop of mercy. And Gurudev said when he came to the West, he said, I heard hearts crying, and so I came. He said it was like a desert, so I brought the rain of Krishna's mercy. You know, sometimes we talk about the rain of mercy as putting out the forest fire. So now we can perhaps go into that topic. It's also there in Lord Chaitanya's first verse, Shikshastakam. So first he says, Chaito dharpana marjanam, cleanse the mirror of your heart as a realm of your consciousness. And then he says, then there's a forest fire, bhava mahadavagni, and that has to be put out, nirvapanam. But how will it be put out? That is samsara dhava nalalita loka. That is by the raindrops of mercy of Krishna's dear associate. So, like I said, I know that in my life I'm very bogus, but the only qualification I have is that I must have been so fallen that they deem me worthy of mercy. Even that is a qualification. To be fallen is a qualification. We hear a verse in scripture that says, you know, if you're on the mountain of your pride, then how are you going to receive the rain of mercy? It will fall down and go to the pool or the lake at the bottom of the mountain. So it's a frame of consciousness. So anyhow, Chaito, I want to talk specifically about the mirror. Chaito dharpana marjanam. I haven't read this, so I'm just going to extrapolate a little bit and meditate on this for a minute. Why is it called the mirror? The mirror of the heart that you are cleansing by chanting. And is it the chanting itself that is cleansing the mirror of the heart? What is ultimately giving us you could say, the final success of our quest? And I would say chanting is showing our greed for that mercy, but ultimately it's the mercy itself that will give us success. There's a story in here about that, but we'll get to that in due course. So I want to posit this idea here that it's said in scripture over and over and over again, in the Gita, in the Bhagavatam, in the stories, in the histories, that Krishna resides in the heart. There's two, you could say, aspects of Krishna though. One is the super soul who is like a witness. The Upanishads also say that within the tree of the body, more of the subtle psychic body, there's two birds. One is witnessing and one is enjoying the fruits of one's labor. So that's the super soul, he's a neutral witness. But who is it, when is it that Krishna himself appears in your heart, not the super soul? And that is also by the mercy of Krishna's agent, the Guru. They invoke Krishna. when it said Bhakti Lata Bij, Guru gives the seed of bhakti. They're invoking the presence of Krishna directly and saying, Krishna, now it's your time to come. I'm installing you in this heart as a seed presence through your name. Because Krishna is present in his name. And the deity is installed in the same fashion. The pure devotee invokes the presence of Krishna. They have Krishna in their control. Right? That's why it said, bhakti cannot be achieved by your effort. Because bhakti is in the heart of the bhakta. Krishna and his loving potency are in the heart of the bhakta. So, that original Krishna, he is planted in the seed of your heart through the pure devotee, through the mercy of the pure devotee. That's why many people are practicing bhakti for lifetimes. But you don't necessarily achieve the same result, because has Krishna been directly called and planted in the heart through the pure devotee? And that's why it may not be the direct route of Guru. It also may be the Shiksha or another Guru, or just a pure devotee who you chance to meet upon. One thing I read today in Gurudev's lectures, he said, it's only through the mercy of that personality that they directly manifest Krishna in your heart. So then, when Krishna is established there, then through chanting of the name, that's why it said Guru Krishna Prasad. By the mercy of Guru and Krishna, then Krishna is revealed. It's not just through Krishna's mercy. And how does Krishna's mercy come? Through Guru. So then, the point I want to make is that when you cleanse that mirror of the heart, what is it you're going to see? People have this confusion. Like, generally when you cleanse a mirror, you're going to see what? Yourself? How is it that when you cleanse the mirror, are you going to see Krishna, or are you going to see yourself? Who are you going to see? Right? You're thinking, I'm cleaning the mirror, and I'm going to see myself. Yeah, but how are you cleaning the mirror? With Krishna's name? And Krishna's name is the seed of Krishna. Krishna is contained within his name. We talk about this. There's always a container and a contained. So Krishna's name contains Krishna's form. And Krishna's name is cleansing the mirror. When you look in the mirror, when your heart is purified through the chanting of Krishna's name, you look at the mirror of your consciousness in your heart, what are you going to see? Krishna. Krishna will be revealed. Shakshan manmata manmata. But Krishna is not alone. And you're also not just taking shelter of Krishna's name impersonally, you're taking shelter of Krishna's pure devotee. So when you look in that mirror of the heart, what are you going to see? You're going to see Guru Krishna. Guru Krishna Prasade Bhai Bhakti Lata Bij. You know, the planter of the seed, when the tree is fructifying, then the farmer will also be there. Right? So the Guru is planting the seed, and Krishna is contained within that seed. And when the seed becomes a tree, and the tree gives fruit, then don't you think Guru will come and see? And what is that fruit? That fruit is the realization of Krishna, Krishna Darshan. Krishna Darshana Lalasa. We are greedy, we are thirsty, we are praying to see Krishna. But we can see Krishna in his picture, his image, we can see Krishna in his deity, we can see so many pictures of Krishna. Is that what we want to see? No, when we close our eyes, when we do our meditation, we want to see Shakshan Manmata Manmata, that direct Krishna. So when we see that Krishna in the mirror of the heart, then Guru will also be there. And also we will be there. But which form? This material form? So this is another thing to consider. This material form is not the eternal form of the soul. Krishna says in the Gita, there is no permanence for that which is non-eternal, nasat. And if that which is eternal, there is no impermanence. So, in the plane of consciousness, which is the spiritual level, when the heart is cleansed, you will see the spiritual form of yourself, Guru, Krishna. Yes? Is that enough? You'll see who is your Ishtadev. That means your worshipful Lord. Like for Hanuman, it's Sitaram. And when he was challenged, why are you so absorbed everywhere in Sitaram? he was looking for Sitaram everywhere, and he said, okay, look in my heart. And it's a metaphor. It's teaching us history, but the metaphor is, he's showing, in my heart is who? Sita and Ram. This is for Hanuman. So for us, when we look in our heart, who is there? This is the speciality of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. They teach, it's not just Krishna that will be revealed. If you want to see complete Krishna, Radha will be there. Without Sri Radha's presence, you're going to see not Krishna darshan, you're going to see just a bright light. No form, no name. That's why the impersonalists say God has no form, no name, no attributes. Why? Because they're not including Radharani as part of the Godhead, the Shakti. It's the devotees who understand the eternal interrelation of Shakti Shaktiman. The impersonalists are only saying God is Brahman. And then they see it as a white light. Why? Because the scripture says you want to achieve Krishna, but you don't recognize Sri Radha, then it's like recognizing the sun but not the rays of the sun. And from our vantage point, there is no sun without the rays of the sun. You're saying, oh, I need Shakti's help, I need Bhakti's help to see God. But then when I achieve God, no more Shakti. So when we look in the mirror of our heart, who will we see? Radha, Krishna, Guru. And is Guru alone? Again, Guru is not alone. If Guru is going to be in there in your heart, then Param Guru will be there. Paratpar Guru will be there. Parameshti. All his friends will be there. All her friends will be there. This is how it works. So we're praying for that auspicious darshan. This is the goal of the Diksha process, the Gayatri process. When we do our Gayatri, we're supposed to go internal, we're supposed to externally be still so that we can be active within. This is our process. And that's what this book is for. This book is to teach us what is the activity of the soul, the heart. Right? When you see Krishna with Sri Radha in your heart, then does it remain static, like this stuck picture in time? No, this is ecstatic. Like you are seeing yourself in the mirror. You just stand there forever looking at yourself, right? It's like, I would say at that point when the consciousness becomes completely clear, that's when the mirror disappears and it just becomes your reality. The mirror is no longer necessary. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. It's like, when do you need a mirror? It's just to recognize yourself. Am I still here? To feel authentic. It's like if you've done something wrong, you look in the mirror and you're like, oof. Sometimes it's hard to look at yourself in the mirror, right? Mm-hmm. So you need your mirror until you're fully cleansed, fully pure, and then the mirror disappears and you enter that reality fully. But I want to posit that one of the reasons for the mirror-like state, why is it described that the heart is like a mirror where you can see yourself? Because part of our spiritual practice is to understand that on the highest level of reality, we aren't alone. If we are to see ourselves in the mirror, we would say, the Supreme Lord is also present there. He is the soul of our soul, the heart of our heart. So you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you're thinking, oh, I'm just myself. But it's not how it works in this world. In the material world, you're born into a family, you leave with a family. People like to say, oh, you're born alone, you die alone. Yeah, if you're a very sad person. Some people, they're born, it's like you're born immediately an orphan. You're not born alone. You're born with a mother and a father, inevitably. Otherwise, you're not born. And when you leave this world, you're surrounded by family and you're greeted by family. That's our Guru Varga. You're not born alone and die alone. Who says that? That's nonsense. Born alone, die alone. It's like it's a black pill kind of mentality. Mm-hmm. It's not reality. Reality is you're born with family, your soul has family. Just like your body has family, your soul has family. When you see the purified mirror of your consciousness, you'll see, I am not alone there. And I think why it's also described to be a mirror that you see your own reflection is because when you can come to that level of understanding to say, no, on some level I am not separate from you. I am part of you. How can I see myself without seeing you? This is love, right? If you're truly in love with someone, it's like you cannot imagine an existence without them. Right? You can imagine existence without your daughter, your husband, your wife, right? You can imagine that is your existence in this life, in every life, many lives. I cannot imagine an existence without you. So when I look in the mirror of my heart, see, the heart is not a physical mirror. When I look in the mirror of my heart, what do I see? Whatever I love, whatever I cherish, whatever I desire. So Radharani says, my heart is Vrindavan. That means her heart. And real Vrindavan, you could say the physical manifestation of Vrindavan is the manifestation of the heart of Radha. She manifests Vrindavan from her heart because that's what's going on in her heart. So what I'm trying to explain here is that the power of the soul is that it creates reality. This is the power of consciousness. On the highest level, God creates all reality. But the soul is part and parcel of the Supreme Soul. And it also has power to create a reality. We create the reality of our existence. God creates all existence. So our heart is also what we create with it. And a lot of our meditation is creating that field and realm of our heart. So that when we look into our consciousness, our heart becomes that plane where the divine couple are present, the Guru Varga are present. That's why it said, fear arises from feeling yourself as a separate person, separate interest. As soon as you feel like, no, I have no separate interest from you. When you look in that mirror of your heart, you see, no. You are present, Radha-Krishna. And my dearmost guides are present. How can they not be? That is our meditation. And we pray for that through the chanting of their names, through the hearing of their pastimes. Radharani said in that song to the bee that hearing Krishna's pastimes destroys attachment to material duality. So we have to reconcile this monism. The idea of spiritual monism on the highest level is through the perfection of divine love, where you reach the stage where you no longer see yourself as a separate individual existence from Radha-Krishna. You see yourself as part of their divine Leela, you could say as a petal to their flower, as a little baby flower bud connected to the beautiful creeper of Sri Radha, woven around the beautiful tree of Sri Krishna. This is the metaphor. Said, what does it mean to be a manjari? You could just say maidservant or personal associate or personal attendant, but the word manjari is used in our tradition, which means the little tiny flower bud. Why? Because it's conceivably connected to Sri Radha. And that when we chant the Maha Mantra, not just to Sri Radha, but to all the Sakhis and Manjaris, they become one, you could say, united expression of divine love, woven around Sri Krishna. That's why in the Maha Mantra we chant Hare, which refers to Sri Radha and all of the Manjaris and Sakhis. Right? So when you're cleansing the mirror of the heart by this mantra, which is ultimately an invitation to yourself. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Oh Lord, when will you include me within that beautiful creeper of love, creeper of devotion that is embracing you, the transcendental tree of divine love? Oh Krishna, when will you include me? And then we're saying Krishna, 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 but we're not praying to be part of Krishna. So why are we praying to Krishna? It begins Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, O Radhe, Krishna, O Radhe, to Krishna. Not only to Sri Radha, we're praying O Lalite, O Vishake, O Chitre, O Sudevi, O Rangadevi, O Tungavidya Sakhi. Not only them, what does Tungavidya Sakhi pray? Tungavidya Sakhi is Radharani's direct bodily expansion of her transcendental form. But that Tungavidya Sakhi in Gaur Leela, as an associate of Gauranga, Prabhupada Swaripad, prays what? Oh, all glories to the maidservants of Srimati Radhika. If I could only be one of the sticks in the broom that is cleaning or sweeping her grove, where the manjaris are present, where Krishna bows before them, begging admittance into Radharani's grove. So Radharani's Saki, Tungavidya, who's not just Tungavidya, Radharani's own expansion. These 8 gopis, the Astasakis, are Radharani's Kaya Vyuha expansions. That means, like Krishna has expansions, Radharani has her primary expansions. These are the 8 Sakis. So one of these Sakis, Tungavidya Saki, is saying, oh, if I could only be a stick in the broom that is sweeping, not even the full broom, if I could be a stick in that broom that is sweeping the flower grove where Krishna is bowing and standing up and down, holding his ears at the feet of Srimati Radhika's maidservants, begging entrance into the kunj. So what is the glory of that position? But to enter that position, that the plane of experience or internal experience, the existence, has to be where there is no separate interest. Right? Chaito dharpana marjanam. I'm looking in the mirror of my heart, and what is my aspiration? May I serve the meeting of the divine couple. May I serve their divine union. So we talked about this in our last class in our series. What is that topic? Like we're playing hide and seek with Krishna, right? We're trying to find Krishna. Krishna, where are you? Are you here? Are you here? Are you here? And finally we find out, oh no, Krishna, he was here in my heart all along. He was here, right here. But before, it's super soul. So we couldn't find him in our heart. And even if he's there in our heart, he is there. He says, I am in your heart. Hriddeshi Arjuna Tishtati. But we cannot see him because the heart is not clean. All our material desires. Radharani says, most people's hearts are filled with their material desires, like wild animals, like a jungle. So through the purification of the heart, then we can come to that stage where we can see Krishna there. But will we be able to keep him there? Krishna is very restless. Even if he's, constantly checking in, he's still going to everyone else's heart kunj. That's how it's described, right? In the rasa dance, Krishna's dancing with everyone. And he's so fast. So he's like checking in with everyone's heart and sweetly smiling, embracing. It's said during the rasa dance, Krishna would take his pitambar and wipe the perspiration from the forehead of the gopis' foreheads and glorify them and say, sadhu, sadhu, you've sung so sweetly. But he is moving very quickly. And then as soon as Sri Radha left the rasa dance, that's why it said the Bhagavatam is so important. Because the Bhagavatam establishes this position of Srimati Radhika as topmost. That Krishna left. Right? Krishna will leave that heart. He's giving darshan, he's running away. Giving darshan, running away. Drawing us forward. Gurudev said meeting and separation, meeting and separation. But if we say, no, may my heart be a kunj for Srimati Radhika, Vrindavan Ishwari, then Krishna will always be knocking on your door. At that stage of bhakti, you're not seeking Krishna. Krishna is not only seeking you, he's begging for entrance. Can I come into your heart? Can I come? What do you see then at the Chaito Darpana Marjanam? Is Krishna there? If Radharani is angry with Krishna, then sometimes Krishna will have to go. And if you have that strength, then he'll come and come and come and come again and again and again. But we aren't so cruel-hearted. We say, no. Gurudev said this, I read this today. Gurudev said, we are not glorifying separation. He said, we do not want separation. He said, those who are glorifying separation, they're like akrura, very cruel, trying to take Krishna away from Vrindavan. He said, we never want separation. We always want Radha-Krishna to be meeting. Every evening we sing, Jai Jai Radha-Krishna Jugala Milan. All glories to the meeting of Radha-Krishna. So no, the heart should be that place which is Nitya Lila. That means eternally Radha-Krishna are together as one. Never separation. There should never be separation in the heart. There may have to be external separation. Radharani may be angry at Krishna, but we should think in our heart, may Radha-Krishna never be in separation. May that be Nitya Lila. So we can always worship them and decorate them in the innermost hidden grove of our heart. That's why we pray to Giriraj. Pramada madana lila kandare kandarete rachayati navayuna dhandamasmina mandam iti kila kalanartam lagna kastadhayor me nija nikata nivasam dehi govardhanatvam. O Giriraj, may your hidden cave, may that be like my heart. In that hidden cave, may Radha-Krishna's pastimes always be going on. Right? So I want to read a couple of these examples. But Gurudev said, this is Very possible. He said, if you can reach that stage of firm attachment, we say Shakti is a very, very high stage, but it is achieved through mercy, therefore it's not so difficult. Mercy is easier than practice. Right? If you think about it, what's easier? If you're connected to someone who has something and you can beg them for it and they're very compassionate and soft-hearted, is it easier to get it like that, or like a touchstone, or $1 billion, $1 trillion? Easier to get it on your own, or to be near someone who has infinite wealth and who's very merciful? So the infinite wealth of the divine couple, their pastimes, their service, we should think that Guru and Gauranga are waiting for qualified recipients of it. They're just waiting in this world. Who is ready? Who is willing? Who wants it? This is what we should think. Again, we read this morning in the Bhagavad Gita, that this is only possible to be achieved by mercy, and yet they are waiting to give this mercy. They are wanting. It's like a parent who wants to give this to their child. And until they give it to someone, they will not be happy and their mission will not be fulfilled. And yet, so many people are lost in conditional life and attached to material things, so they cannot give it. And so it makes you even more qualified and ready to receive it, because it's very rare. It said bhakti sudurlabha. Bhakti is very rarely achieved. So that means even if there's millions and millions of people practicing bhakti, most of it is with material desires, or most of it is for selfish desire, even if there's no material desires. So those people who just want that, you could say, one-pointed, unmotivated desire to satisfy, to please the divine couple in this service, in this way, Guru and Vaishnavas are just waiting to give it. Waiting. Like, very patiently, because why are they very patient? Because they think eventually they'll be ready. Because they can see your past, present, future. So they can see, Gurudev would say, I would come and I would travel and say, okay, this person is Manjari, this person is Sakya, this person Vatsalya, this person Manjari. Like that, they would be able to see. And so he would help everybody, but he would say some specific, I'm training, until they can reach the stage. So we should think like, as a child is qualified to receive all the wealth of the parents. It's just a question of time. In the same way, Guru is very patient. Guru is very heavy, that means very patient, because they think, no, when they are ready, I will give. When they are ready, I will give. When they are ready, I will give. I will give. It said it's only apeksha, waiting. When you come into association of a very qualified Vaishnavas, it's the only qualification for you is patience now. Are you willing to wait? Are you willing to wait? Like the gopis waited for Krishna to return to Vrindavan. Are you willing to wait? Are you willing to wait? So that is Hridaya Mandir, the heart kunj. And that is something that is also a practice to manifest. And luckily, we have a very beautiful guide. It's been given. The Love Kusumanjali is a guide. This book, actually, I would say, is a direct guide. Again, it's described that plane of experience that is the Hridaya, the heart, is not a static field. The heart is always active. In this world, it's all our desires swirling around in our heart. The mind, we say, my mind is so active, so overactive. I can't still my restless mind. It's more difficult to control than the wind. So therefore we say, Dhira samire jamuna tire. If your mind is more difficult to control than the wind, then offer that mind into the pastimes of Radha-Krishna and Vrindavan. Very easily that will still the restless mind. Why? Because it will give it seva. You should be in that gentle plane. You should be flowing along the banks of the Jamuna. So before I quote a few verses, I want to give this example. Lord Chaitanya said, Chaito darpanam marjanam, cleanse the mirror of the heart. Then what? Bhava mahad davagninirvapanam. Then the forest fire of material existence will be extinguished. And then what does he say? Shreya kairava chandrika vitaranam. I want to mention this verse. That the moonbeams of good fortune will dawn in the heart. What are those moonbeams of good fortune? So this goes to a beautiful story of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, the author of this book. So the moonbeams of good fortune is described to be Krishna's transcendental beauty in his form. Right? What is that moonbeam? It's said in this, there's a verse here where it says, the beautiful moon rays are shining upon the sand of the river Jamuna, where Sri Radha and Krishna are present in a beautiful singhasan. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, it said in his meditation, he's meditating on the Kam Gayatri. The Kam Gayatri specifically is described to be 24 and a half moons in each syllable, the 24 and a half syllables. So Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, each of these 7 results of chanting the holy name are like a beautiful metaphor or allegory. So Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, the full moons of good fortune are what? That you have Krishna Darshan. Krishna is our primary, he's the Vishai, the object of love and devotion. So the moonbeams of good fortune is when the forest fire of your material desires is now extinguished. When the mirror of the heart is cleansed, then you have darshan of Krishna. That is Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vidharanam. So now I'll give just one quick story. It said Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he was chanting Kam Gayatri. This Kam Gayatri is the process of Manasi Seva, internal meditation through this Kam Gayatri. So he said, chanting that Kam Gayatri, he couldn't understand how the 24 and a half syllables are each like a moon in Krishna's form. And so he said, if I can't understand, because he was quoting a verse of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita, and actually quoting Lord Chaitanya, speaking to Sanatana Goswami. So Lord Chaitanya is describing Krishna's form as the moonbeams, or the full moons. And he says the first is what? He gives a beautiful example. He said Krishna's lotus, his beautiful face is like the full moon. And he said Krishna's form is like the ocean, and Krishna's full moon rises above that ocean. And so this is also the next part of this Shikshastakam verse is what? Anandam Buddhivardhanam. What is that ocean of bliss that is ever increasing? That is the transcendental form of Krishna. Make sense? Anandam Buddhivardhanam. That ocean of bliss that is ever increasing, giving ever increasing bliss, that is Krishna's transcendental form, his Rup. So Mahaprabhu says that when you realize the beauty of Krishna's lotus face and the beauty of his transcendental form, then that all those moons are causing the ocean of bliss to constantly increase. Okay? Imagine the power of one full moon, how it makes the ocean in this world increase. So it's said that Krishna's transcendental form is like the ocean, and his beautiful lotus face is the full moon. But it's not just one full moon. It said Krishna's lotus face is the full moon, and then he has a little dot of sandal, another full moon. And then he said there's a half moon. This is Krishna's born on Astami. And so the half moon of the 8th day of Krishna's birth, of the waxing moon, actually this is in the dark fortnight, that's the half moon under Krishna's sandalwood dot. So when we see the Om sign, right? There's Krishna has the sandalwood dots, white sandal, like one full moon, and then he has the crescent, the half moon underneath. So this is the half moon. And then he said Krishna's 2 cheeks, those are also full moons. And there's many other examples. His forehead is a half moon, right? So imagine the power of one moon to cause the ocean to increase. But there's 24 full moons and 1 half moon. It said Krishna's transcendental fingernails are all like full moons. And his toenails all like full moons. So that's another 20, right? 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. But now the story goes that Vishwanath could not understand where is the half syllable in this Kam Gayatri mantra. He said, if I cannot understand the syllables of the mantra, how will I have darshan of the deity of the mantra? So when we chant our Gayatri mantras, we should understand the goal of chanting the Gayatri mantras is that Chaito Dharpana Marjanam. Right? But when we finish, okay, my heart is clean, now I can see myself in the mirror. No, that's when I see Krishna. Right? Do I lose my own existence? No, Krishna doesn't say you lose your own existence. If you worship Krishna as impersonal, then you can say, oh, I just see the light and I merge with the light, and then we all merge into that bliss of nothingness, bliss of the light. But if we say, no, hold on. Krishna is very tricky. He says, if you desire, when you pray to Krishna, he'll test you. What do you want? Do you want freedom from suffering? Yes, yes, yes. Do you want the bliss of merging with me? Yes, yes, yes. They'll give it to you. Tatastu. But this book is called Sankalpa Kalpa Druma, the desire tree of my auspicious resolve. Sankalpa means my vow, my resolve. And who is the Kalpa Druma, the desire tree? Radha and Krishna. It's Krishna, but we are not praying to be attached to Krishna. Our Shakti, our attachment is to Srimati Radhika. That's why we're praying to be Manjari. You understand? The Manjari, the flower bud, is attached to the creeper. And the creeper is winding around the tree. Oh Krishna, I have no separate interest for you. My interest is to worship, that in my heart I want to see you with Radha. Or I could say I want to see Sri Radha with you. I do not, if Krishna appears in my heart without Sri Radha, I'll say, no, go. Oh Krishna, you are so charming, so beautiful, right? All attractive. But the Manjaris would say, oh Krishna, why have you come? Why are you revealing yourself in my heart? I have a sankalpa. I have a auspicious resolve that to the desire tree. See, again, this is important. It is a desire tree. That means the desire tree will give you whatever you wish. This is the classic. There's so many stories about desire trees. I'm not going to get involved in those tangents. There's many, many stories about the power of desire trees. All right? It's a thing. So the point is, Radha-Krishna are a desire tree. And Krishna may tempt you with many desires. There's many stories about like the idea of a genie granting you wishes. What are you going to wish for? I read recently like a bhakti story about a genie with wishes. But anyhow, I forget it. The point here is, what is our sankalpa? That's very important. If you don't have it, Gurudev, I read it again today, and this was like 94, 95 volume. He said, you have to have a goal. Otherwise, when you start getting your desires fulfilled, you're going to be all scattered here and there. And all of a sudden you're running, it's like, I see this in our life, right? What's your goal? You're running over here, running over here, running over here, running over here. What's your goal? You don't know your goal, you can't go anywhere. This is also there in the self-help genre, right? Know what you want, otherwise how are you going to manifest it? How are you going to pray and have it given by the universe? Know what you want. So you have to have a sankalpa. So this book is all about that sankalpa. So without further ado, we can dive into a few. But I just was trying to glorify Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. It said, he was trying to understand the Kam Gayatri mantra because he said, this mantra will reveal Krishna to me. So it said the soul is attracted to Krishna, right? And so every soul wants to realize Krishna. But in our line, the specialty is that we want to realize Krishna with Sri Radha. And that is how we realize Krishna in full. Right? Without realizing Sri Radha, we cannot realize Krishna in full. So that's why it said that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he made a vow, before he wrote this book, he said he made a vow that if I cannot understand this Kam Gayatri mantra, I will give up my life. Normally we hear suicide is very bad. Especially the Christians say, if you commit suicide, your soul is damned. But, our gurus in our line, they say, so what if my soul is damned? If I cannot realize my goal in spiritual life, I'm already damned. They have such firm resolve. So he went to the bank of Sri Radha Kund, not to Krishna Kund. He went to Sri Radha Kund, and it said he held a big shila, or he tied a big shila to him. I've heard he held it, and he entered Radha Kund. He prayed all night, and he said, Radha-Krishna, if you do not reveal this truth to me, if I cannot see you, he said, if I can understand the mantra, how will I understand the deity of the mantra and realize that deity of the mantra? So he made a sankalpa, he resolved to give up his life without his goal being achieved. And like that, he was weeping and lamenting. And as he entered that Radha Kund, and he went under the water, Radha-Krishna could no longer tolerate. And they said, okay, we'll give you ourselves. And so it said, Krishna did not appear, Radharani appeared. And she said, without my kindness or my mercy, no one can realize this. Right? Nobody, without Radharani's mercy, you cannot realize Krishna. Whatever your rasa, whatever you aspire, whatever relationship you aspire for Krishna, Radharani said, I grant that. Right? So the desire tree we're praying to the creeper wound around Sri Krishna, because Krishna is a desire tree, very dangerous. Right? Radharani will give you what is best for you. Krishna may give you whatever you desire. Radharani is not, we say kalpalata, wish-fulfilling creeper. But if we're praying to a kalpadruma, desire tree, very dangerous. Kalpalata, safe. Pray to Srimati Radhika. She is not the mother of all souls, but she is we say we're part and parcel of Krishna, we're also part and part of Sri Radha. So she's not the mother of all souls, she's, like our highest energetic source, energy source. So how can we describe it? So Radharani said, I grant you that vision, I grant you that knowledge of Krishna. And she told him where to find it, and she said, distribute this glory, distribute this knowledge to the whole world. So that's described here, this beautiful story. So after that, it said, through Kam Gayatri, he realized his own spiritual position. That means his form as Srimati Radhika's Manjari. And then he wrote all these beautiful books. So I want to quote a few verses from this beautiful book. It's very sweet. All right, verse 1. O Queen of Vrindavan. I'll sing the verse. Vrindavaneshwari vayo gunarupa leela sobhagya keli karuna jaladeva dehi dhasi bhavani sukhayani sada sakantam tvam alibhi parivritam idameva yache namo vrindavaneshwariyai. So these are all prayers to Srimati Radhika. Right? All this is direct prayers to Srimati Radhika. I'm trying to connect this to Chaito Dharpana Marjanam because the point is, we don't only want to say Bhayam Dutini Binivesh. I have no separate interest from Guru and Krishna. No, I have no separate interest from Srimati Radhika. Right? Bhaktyai Kayesham Gurudeva Tatma. You are Gurudev. Right? All the Manjris, gurus in our line, they do not consider themselves Guru. They say Srimati Radhika is Guru. She's also Krishna's Guru. So, Bhaktyai Kayesham Gurudeva Tatma. You are my Gurudeva Tatma. You are my heart and soul. In that whole parampara, that parampara is that creeper woven around the tree of Sri Krishna. The lineage of our Manjari Gurus, they're all woven around that transcendental desire tree of Krishna. And what are they doing? Krishna is the desire tree. That means Kama Devaya, the Lord of all desire. That is Krishna. And how do we serve that Krishna? This is a paradox. Krishna is the tree of all desire, and yet it's our service to please Him. Hrishikena Hrishikesha. With our spiritual senses, we serve Krishna's spiritual senses. How? Taking shelter of Srimati Radhika. She is the queen of all Krishna's desires. So how can we not take shelter of? Therefore, Vrindavaneshwari. Therefore it said, she is Vrindavaneshwari. Gurudev would say, Krishna, he is Vrindavan Chandra, the moon of Vrindavan. But Srimati Radhika is the queen of that land of Vrindavan. And Krishna, the transcendental moon, that moon is always present in Vrindavan, that full moon, and all the different phases of the moon of Krishna, they are always in Vrindavan. Generally, the moon is seen as like a feminine symbol, right? But in Bhakti, no, Krishna takes on that form. He is the moon. And Srimati Radhika, that land of Vrindavan is where that transcendental moon of Krishna is always residing and always playing. So we pray. I'm going to read 1-2 verses, then we'll conclude. O Queen of Vrindavan, O ocean of youthfulness, of good qualities, of beauty, pastimes, good fortune, amorous love, and compassion, my petition to you, who are always surrounded by your Sakhis, is that I may become your Dasi. May I forever please you by serving you when you are with Sri Krishna. All right? That plane of your heart, when the mirror disappears, that is where Radha-Krishna are eternally present with you and with all the Sakhis and Manjaris. Then your heart becomes Kunj Kirtan. So then, I just want to mention 1-2 very sweet verses. The position of the Manjari is very high, even higher sometimes than Sakhis. Listen to these 2-3 verses. Second verse. So this details all the Astakali Leelas. It's like a manual for Manasi Seva. But Gurudev would say, Vishaya Chadiya Kabe Shuddha Habiman. The heart has to be cleansed in order to be able to access that realm or to enter that realm. And how do you access that realm? Vishaya chadiya kavi shuddha. When will the heart become clean? When will that Chaito Darpana Marjana be complete? Vishaya je priti ebe ache amar. When you say, no, I offer my love to you. I am not separate from you. Love is such a thing that it creates like a unified existence. Pure love combines what is separate and makes it one. So Vishaya je priti ebe, that love which I have scattered in this world, which I'm trying to satisfy in my heart, right? I'm trying to be satisfied, I'm trying to be happy by offering my love into material desires, but I am spiritual. And so no material desires can satisfy my heart. That's why we see so much degraded, so much evil in this world. Actually, all the evil and the degraded forms of corruption in this world are a product of the attempt to satisfy the soul through every variety of material enjoyment. And when you cannot satisfy the soul through higher levels of material enjoyment, you could say more pure. There's very pure forms of love in this world also. It's not satisfying, so then you go lower and higher and lower and higher. And from that, heaven and hell are created in this material existence. You create material heaven and you create material hell. How? Just by you as a conscious soul, you're creating your reality. You're trying to satisfy your spiritual desires through material means, but they never satisfy the soul, so you're going up and down, trying every variety. And you're causing suffering, so you're suffering, and you're in this vicious cycle of samsara because of that. When you can, Vishaya je priti ebe ache amar, when you can take that love you've placed in all the things of this world and offer it to Krishna or to Sri Radha, then naturally these pastimes will manifest in your heart. So when you see that plane of experience of the realm of the heart, what do you see? I'm looking in the mirror, then in that mirror I will dress and decorate you and then take you to meet your beloved. On that level, the mandris are also experiencing Radha meeting with Krishna. That means in the mirror of your heart, you understand what I'm saying? The heart. It's a mirror of your heart. Why is it a mirror? Because you are there. And when Radha and Krishna are meeting in your heart, you are experiencing it. You are experiencing Krishna and Sri Radha and yourself because it's all your mirror of your heart. It's not the mirror of Krishna's heart, the mirror of Radharani's heart, it's the mirror of your heart. So what are you saying there? In that plane of existence that is my heart, I will dress and decorate you and then take you to meet your beloved. Right? Upon seeing the face of your beloved Krishna. So this is very sweet. I want to mention a verse where Radharani gets mad at her manjari, and then when Krishna teases and jokes at the manjari. See their position. It's a very high level of adhikar. We're going to the very top of the tree of our divine tree of knowledge, the Nigama Kalpatarur Galitam Phalam. This is the ripened fruit in the Bhagavatam. And going back to the Bhagavatam, Gurudev said, the Bhagavatam is the desire tree of Krishna's form. And it's only the Mahabhagavats, those devotees who give the Bhagavat, who can give this mercy that you take shelter of. That means in our path, ultimately, we say we throw our own qualification out the window and we only depend upon their mercy. Kripa apeksha. We're only waiting for mercy. We're only waiting for mercy. Our sadhana is praying for mercy. Our sadhana is the patience to wait for mercy. I've heard this from the Vaishnavas. I remember in 2005, I tell this story sometimes. I'm going to try to come to India. I'm a young man. My mind is disturbed. Senses disturbed. Mind and senses are not your friend. They're temporary. Part of your ego. Material existence. He said, that's not you. Anyhow, come to Vrindavan, serve. This will purify your body, mind, and senses. And by that, naturally, this process will go that if you can develop affection for the Vaishnavas, as you have affection for your family in this world, right? Your heart, the heart, it's not a material mirror, right? You look in the mirror, you're alone. In your heart, you're never alone. Your desires are there. Your aspirations are there. Or if you have love and good relationships, your family members are there. You see what happens when you die, right? They say, your life flashes before your eyes. People say you die alone. No. Your life flashes before your eyes. All the things you've attached yourself to in this life flash before your eyes. So if you can develop attachment, affection for Guru and Vaishnavas, they have Radha-Krishna always performing pastimes in their heart. Vrindavan is where the pure devotees are present because Radha-Krishna is Nitya Leela, Astakaliya pastimes. Wherever Gurudev would go, Astakaliya Leela resets. That's why it said Gurudev never got jet lag. Gurudev would travel, all his associates would get jet lag. But all of a sudden, Gurudev's 12 hours in a different location. He has no jet lag. Why? Because Astakaliya Leela resets wherever he is. Oh, it's 4 a.m, Radha-Krishna doing this pastime. Oh, it's 5 a.m, Radha-Krishna doing this pastime. And that is what, and then they're engaged in their external activities like a marionette, like puppetry. They're just dancing. Like they're in perfect flow state. They're not a puppet, but they're in flow state. Like you see Parvati, right? It's like he's just in flow state. His whole life is just like for 50 years he's been in temple life, just in the flow state. That means like you see someone who's so good at something, they're doing it at pure intuition. They do this in music as well, right? You're thinking about it too much, you can't be that good. You get into a position of your musical talent, you're flowing, right? How much of this have I thought about before giving the class? All I thought about is talking about Chaito, Darpana Marjan. And here we are, right? So the Vaishnavas, their whole life is flow state. Why? Because Radha-Krishna, the Supreme Lord, his beloved, are dancing in their heart at all times. And anywhere they go, now they have captured Radha-Krishna in the cave of their heart, and they have fused themselves into one existence. That's how you say, Bhayam Ditiya Bini. I'm afraid because I am a separate existence from Radha-Krishna. When I say Gurudeva Tatma Bhaktiyai Kiyesham, when I fuse my existence with them through my bhakti, through their bhakti, but through their mercy, then wherever I am, they are. Wherever they are, I am. This is the contract. This is the deal. If you're in my heart, then you become that qualified that they bring you to them. First they manifest here. It's called Swarup Siddhi. Swarup Siddhi means you realize your perfection within your heart. Then they manifest there. Then that creates this powerful connection. It said bhav. Shuddha sattva visheshatma prema saryang sasamyam. Kidriso bhava muchite. That bhav is when that spiritual ray of connection is established through your hearts. That the hearts of the eternal associates of Radha-Krishna connect to your heart. Ruchi bis kidriso bhava muchite. The awakening of transcendental ecstasy through Shuddha Sattva Prem, through the heart. And that's our goal. Then you're connected. Then those pastimes, your heart then reflects the eternal pastimes of Radha-Krishna. And that's why sometimes Vaishnavas are speaking. They're like, I didn't read this somewhere. Where do you read it? Why? Their hearts are reflecting Radha-Krishna's eternally ever-fresh pastimes. You can read that in a book. Book is the past. It's eternal, but it's a snapshot. Nitya Leela is eternal, ever fresh, ever increasing. They may be performing a Leela in that Vaishnav's heart that is never performed anywhere else, any other time. Right? Who's to say? That's why these pastimes that we're reading, did they happen in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's heart? Or did they happen in Goloka Vrindavan? Or what's the difference at that point? That Vaishnav's heart, when it transcends the spiritual world, that heart becomes part of the eternal kunjas of Radha-Krishna. That's why it said, Chintamani moy Radha Kunda Tata Tahe Kunja Shata Shata. There's hundreds of thousands of kunjas. Why? Each perfected heart that appears in the banks of Radha Kund, now you have another kunj. That heart, kunj, then manifests on the banks of Radha Kund. New kunj. So is this position higher, or, I want to independently enjoy with Krishna? Independent enjoyment with Krishna, you're cutting out half of reality. It's half-hand logic. You want to understand Krishna without Radha, you're just understanding personal light. There is no Krishna without Radha, there's no Radha without Krishna. You really want to Chaito Darpana Marjan, then you have to say, no, Radha Rani, let me realize you, then Krishna will come running behind me. This is what everyone says in Vrindavan, but we say, no, we don't even chant that prayer. Like there's this song that everyone sings, Radhe Radhe Shamilade. We say, bogus verse. Chanting Radha Rani as a means to an end? No, Radhe Radhe enough. Sham milade na milade. Tumhara marji hai. Right? We say, Radhe Radhe Sham milade na milade. Need, no need. Radharani is there, automatically Krishna is there. Krishna is there without Radharani. He is a desire tree. What do you want? He may grant it. So we pray that heart becomes the place of Astakali Leela. Gurudev would travel wherever he would go, and he would do festivals where it was like Braj Leela manifest through his Kitab. That's our new Braj festival we're going to. When we were there with Gurudev, you see the devotion of Gurudev's core of children. Why? It's by remembrance of those times where they were with Gurudev, where it was like Vrindavan appeared there. We heard these stories of Swami Prabhupada and Gurudev. They were like two Vrindavans together. You get two pure devotees together, it's like reality starts getting distorted. There's a story of how Gurudev and Prabhupada were together, and then it was like double Vrindavan manifested there at Raman Reti, at their place. Everyone became overwhelmed with that bliss of Ananda Mudivardhanam, right? You're with those people who are manifesting, they're like a channel of Vrindavan present physically. And you're aware of them, and then it's what? Ananda Mudivardham, with Prabhupada, with Gurudev. So that imprint is there in those places. That's why they're called holy places, like New Braj. The presence of Gurudev, it changed the particles of the reality there in New Braj. Those stones that are there, those atoms in those stones that Gurudev walked upon, are now, they came in touch with Vrindavan because Gurudev's body and Vrindavan became one. Right? What is Vrindavan? The place where Radha-Krishna are performing pastimes. And you know what Braj means? Braj means that which moves. Brajati gachati iti braj. That which moves is Vrindavan. That's what is described in scripture. That means wherever the pure devotee is traveling, that's why it said, Tomara hridaya Govinda Vishram, Govinda is resting in your heart, but it said, Jaistan Vaishnav, Staistan Vrindavan. Saistan Anand. Where the Vaishnav is, that is Vrindavan, and that is the abode of bliss. So the Vaishnav is carrying that ocean of bliss with them, with the 24 and a half rising full moons of Krishna over that beautiful ocean. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam. Then Vidyavadi Jivanam. Then you can understand what it means to become a Brajagopi. Right? And it said, this is very important to understand. It's by Srimati Radhika's mercy that you're realizing Krishna is the ocean of bliss. And it's by Srimati Radhika's kindness that you're realizing the full moon of Krishna's beauty. And it's by Srimati Radhika's grace that now you have no separate interests. When you can, it's the greatest challenge, it's the greatest test to say truly, sincerely, because you can't lie in your heart. You may lie in the external world. You may lie to others, you may even lie to yourself. But in your purely authentic heart, when Chaito Darpana Marjan, when the heart is fully cleansed, you can't lie. So the greatest test then is to say, no, oh Krishna, I have no separate interest but you. I only want to satisfy you. I only want to serve you. Krishna says, you are this tiny little soul. It's my job to satisfy you. It's said in scripture, Krishna is eko bahunam yo vidadati kamam. Krishna is the desire tree. He is the supreme. Why is it our job to satisfy him? Make sense? We're this teeny little tiny soul, one spark of consciousness, and Krishna is the infinite consciousness. Why is it our job to satisfy Krishna? It doesn't make sense. It's not fair. Is the test. Krishna is eko bahunam yo vidadati. It said Krishna is the only one capable of satisfying everyone. But when you can take that leap of trust and surrender, Krishna, I want nothing but you. You are my Lord. The last verse of Shikshastakam. I fully surrender to you. Whether you want to embrace me or neglect me, oh Krishna, it's all about you. It's only for your happiness. I don't even want to meet with you. I only want to, that my heart becomes the place where I am bringing Sri Radha to meet with you eternally. It says, yes, now you're qualified to be part and parcel of our eternal reality. To such degree that you will hear this verse now, right? So, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is praying in the Manjari form. O Radhe, I will dress and decorate. So this is for the rendezvous at this time of day. Just in the evening. This is nighttime pastime starting. Not Naisha Lila fully, but Pradosh, then Naisha Lila. Just dusk leading into evening. Krishna is now, Gurudev would say in his first Western tours and his morning walks, what is Krishna doing right now? People think, oh, he's talking about some theoretical idea of Manasi Seva, theoretical, they didn't even understand that much. Gurudev's saying, where is Krishna right now with me? Gurudev's saying, where am I right now? Understand? Gurudev would come on morning walks and he'd say, where is Krishna right now? What is he doing? People say, oh, this. And some who are with Gurudev longer would say, oh, it's like 6:45. Krishna is just returning to Nandavan. He's taking his bath. But only like people like Prabhuji would say, no. This is the hidden secret. He didn't say like this, but now I'm saying like this. Gurudev is teasing you. He's saying, where am I right now? But he's not selfish. He's not talking about himself. For Gurudev to say, where is Krishna right now, is to say the same as where am I right now? Because he has no separate interest now. Right? Separate interest has led me here. You understand? Here I am, separate interest. If I had no separate interest, I'd be in Vrindavan. Right? I have separate interests, so here I am. New York, such a wonderful place. I was banished by my own wickedness. Right? Who knows? Anyhow, moving on. Oh, go to Vrindavan. Go to preach. Yeah, good, preaching. This is Gurudev's desire. You have to learn the trials and tribulations of the road of life, right? I remember writing like this back in 2008, 2009. The goal of preaching is to realize the futility of preaching and to ultimately give up everything and just reside in Vrindavan and do bhajan. That's the goal of preaching. Because how can you change anyone's heart? Right? I'm not a pure devotee, right? And also, even the pure devotees, they cannot change anyone's heart without their desire. It said they can just bless you and give Krishna prem, but they won't because it goes against your free will. Right? If they just say, Krishna prem, dadatu, I give you Krishna prem, pure love of Krishna, you're in ecstasy. That's a violation of your free will. You want to be in this world, you're in samsara because you want to be. So they will only give you that mercy when you are thirsty for it, like the Chataka bird is thirsty for that rain that falls during that constellation of Swati Nakshatra, Prabhupada's birth constellation. The Chataka bird, I remember standing up and speaking this verse for Gurudev as a young boy. I must have been 12 or 13. Virachaya mai dandam dina bandhum dhayanba. The Chataka bird is one kind of bird that is sitting in the tree and saying, I will die of thirst. I would prefer to die of thirst than to take any water but that which falls during the constellation known as Swati Nakshatra. I said, I will not take any water from the puddle in the ground. I will not take any water from the river or the lake or the stream. I will not take any water from any regular rain cloud. Only that rain cloud that comes during the Swati Nakshatra, that auspicious constellation. How often does that constellation come? Not so often. When that comes, I will drink the rain. So then they will give you that. Because they won't go against your free will. Because once you get that Krishna prem, you think there's like some undo, there's some return. There's no return for that. Krishna says, Yad gatva nani vartante dadhama paramamama. Once you go there, you're not come back. Why? You want to come back? How is it possible? We're all looking for love and satisfaction, but we're not able to experience in the material plane because the soul is beyond that. You have to understand that the soul is a higher principle than matter. So it is impossible to satisfy the soul with anything material. It is impossible. The soul is eternal. Everything in this world is material. It is impossible to be satisfied in this world. Impossible. Write it down. Put it in your heart locker. It is impossible to be happy and satisfied completely in this world. Impossible. I cannot get no satisfaction ever. And that's why you see the wealthier, the more elite people get, the more degraded forms of enjoyment they attempt. Right? We talk about this sometimes. Because it's not possible. So once you realize spiritual bliss, what to speak of Radha-Krishna, this relationship, even Brahmananda, you won't come back. Even the impersonal bliss you won't come back from. And that is one tiny, tiny, tiny drop of the ocean of bliss that is that transcendental form of Krishna. How are you going to meet that transcendental form of Krishna? Krishna and Sri Radha are ekatma. When you say Gurudeva Tatma, Gurudev, the pure Guru, the pure devotee, connects you, the soul, to him, and then both of you to Radha-Krishna, who are all like one tattva then. One at heart. Gurudev would say, like Gurudev, Trivikram Maharaj, Vamana Goswami, they would say there are three bodies, one soul. Why? Are they three souls, three bodies, one? No, they're three bodies, three souls, no. But they are acting as one soul. They would say that about Gurudev, Vamana Goswami Maharaj, and Trivikram, our original trinity in our line. In our recent parampara, these three brothers. Everyone glorifies them as three bodies, one soul. Why? Because their existence has fused together as one. Through bhakti, through love and devotion. In the same way, if we fuse our existence through love and affection, it's not something where we lose our identity. But it's saying, no, I love you, I'm part of you, I'm part and parcel of you. I do not conceive of myself as a separate existence. You are my spiritual eternal family. O Gurudev, O Vaishnav Thakur, O Radha-Krishna. Then you come to this level where that is experienced in your heart as non-different from your own experience. I will dress and decorate. Are you dressing, decorating Radha-Rani or yourself? You're dressing and decorating Radha-Rani. But it's said that you're on such a level of intimacy that your hands are like her hands. Is she alone there dressing herself? I am not even going to start attempting to understand this. But it's on such a high level that you cannot distinguish. This is the reality. You cannot distinguish the difference. There is no difference for you. You have to understand. When you fully dive into that, Krishna, I am part of you. Radharani, I am part of you. Gurudev, I am part of you. I don't have a separate existence from you. So I will dress and decorate you in the mirror of your heart. What are you doing? Dressing. Do you even see yourself? Like, for example, Here we are, right? Do I see myself? I don't see myself. Right? If I go like this, I see my hand. I'm not looking at myself. The mirror shatters. You no longer see yourself. You're dressing and decorating Radharani. So here you are. I will dress and decorate you and then take you to meet your beloved. So, taking Radharani to meet Krishna, you're experiencing Radharani meeting Krishna as the object, the subject, the objective, subjective, what? It's in your heart. It's subjective, it's objective. It's both. It's one, it's not different. Your objective and subjective realities have merged with Radha-Krishna's reality. This is Prem Kaivalya, where you merge in divine love. You enter that ocean of divine love and bliss that is ever increasing with the beauty of Krishna. Why is it Krishna then? Because Radharani's love is Krishna, your love is Krishna. Every soul is attracted to Krishna. But if we're trying to achieve Krishna without Sri Radha, it's only the half moon, not the full moon. Half reality. So, at this time of day, as Radharani is going to meet Krishna, and she's about to meet with him, upon seeing the face of your beloved Krishna, you turn away. See, he's using these verbs, these nouns, I, you, your. But his focus is you and yours. The I there is complete. He's still there. You understand? He hasn't erased himself. But what the experience going on in his heart is you, your, I, you, your, I. It's all become one tattva. Where we are the jiva, soul, serving Radha-Krishna, but where Radha-Krishna are also satisfying the thirst of our soul for their love. So Radharani turns away. Right as she's about, it's called Kila Kinchit Bhav. Many mixed emotions are going through her heart. Therefore, many mixed emotions are going through your heart. Because this is occurring in your heart. Right? Understand? Radharani is experiencing many mixed emotions. Kila Kinchit Bhav. It said she bites her lip. And she turns away from Krishna. Okay. How late into the class are we? We got some percentage of the points left there?
I was just going to use that as
pause.
a gauge. We got 26% left.
Okay, it's plenty of time. I'll try to end. Okay. It's very sweet. I just want to get through a couple verses. Radharani turns slightly away. This book is given as a manual for your Manasi Seva. It's not given as, and that's why it's like, you read this book, Gurudev, one of his favorite authors, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he loved him so much. He was like, people say he's like his expansion almost. That's how people can understand, Gurudev, but they say he's an expansion of Vishwanath, an expansion of Rupa Goswami. It's like, you're the same creeper. They don't see things that way. This is our Western mindset, the I mindset. Prabhupada makes fun of this. Last time I was in India, he made a whole class. He was like, I, capital I. He said in Indian culture, in other cultures, they don't have this preoccupation with the individual as much as we have it. It's like, little I, little you. You know, Prabhupada was joking, if I am capital, then you are capitalized, you're capitalized, they are capitalized, everything is capital then. Either one for all for one. So anyhow, Prabhupada was joking about this. So, at that time, so Radharani turns slightly away. Why are you necessary as a separate individual there? Because Radharani, how can she maintain her man without your assistance? How is Radharani going to maintain her mood of contrariness? And this is a great test because you're also experiencing this desire for Krishna. You also want to meet with Krishna, the beloved of your heart and soul, the cherished the thing you've been aspiring for all existence as a soul, and you've met him now in the cave of your heart. And Radharani is desiring to meet with him, and you're desiring to meet with him. But they're no separate existence now. And your task is, no. It can change. So in this case, Radharani is turning away, not desiring to meet with him. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, at that time, so Radharani stops. She's walking to the Kunj to meet with Krishna, and she stops. And Krishna is looking from a distance, and they met eye to eye. And then Radharani turns aside, and the Manjari takes the hold of her sari. I will take hold of the border of your dress, and I will bring you to Krishna. So sometime you have that service of bringing Radharani to Krishna. Sometimes you have the service of keeping Krishna from Radharani. How to understand what service, how, what, when to do. That's why you need Guru. This is where you really need Guru. That time Guru becomes Rupa Manjari, Lalita Saki, or your Guru Manjari. Because what are you going to do? How do you understand? When does, in your heart, imagine, like, how do you understand when Radharani wants to meet with Krishna, but she doesn't want to? Or doesn't want to, and you have to chastise? It's like very difficult. You're going to hear a verse how Krishna is chastised by the Manjari, and Radharani is brought to Krishna by the Manjari, and how Radharani is stopped from coming to Krishna. The Manjaris are needed because without the Manjaris, no one has the strength to ultimately. The Manjaris are the only ones who can have such man to Krishna that they will never be taken by him. They have such nishta, such resolve. They have such sankalpa that the Sakis, how are they going to conquer Krishna? They're so attracted to him and they have some desire for some bhog, meeting with Krishna. The Manjaris don't think of meeting with Krishna because Radharani is meeting with Krishna, and they've realized that prem, prayojan, that goal of prem, that they don't see themselves as separate interests. So those Manjaris are the only ones who can really, when Radharani really doesn't want to meet with Krishna, and she has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 levels of Manjaris protecting her from meeting Krishna, if she is directly meeting with Krishna, Krishna can break her resolve. He cannot break the Manjari's resolve. That's why they're needed in existence. Part and parcel. That's why Mahaprabhu comes. Mahaprabhu said, as Krishna says, Radharani, I will come to this world and find those souls qualified to be your Manjaris, and I will offer them in your service, so that when you are angry with me, they can guard you and protect and stop even me from coming to meet with you. Therefore, I will come as Mahaprabhu, and I will preach your glories everywhere. I will glorify you through directly and indirectly. Right? Some people chant Radhe Radhe, and people criticize, oh, Radhe Radhe, you're chanting, no, chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Yes, indirectly. Indirectly and directly, Radhe Radhe. Radhe Radhe is directly, and indirectly is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Both way, it's Mahaprabhu, Unata Ujjvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam, giving that Swabhakti Shriyam, that Manjari Bhav. So Radharani is brought to meet with Krishna, despite her desire externally to not meet with him. Because she has to maintain her contrary nature, you understand? When Radharani has to maintain her contrary nature, then even when she wants to meet with Krishna, she shows she doesn't want to. Then the Manjari does the service of bringing her to Krishna. And she'll take her, in this chant, like in this example, her skirt, and bring her to meet with Krishna. At that point, I will bathe in the shower-like nectar of your scolding me. So that at that time, as the Manjari is bringing Radharani to Krishna, Radharani starts scolding the Manjari. Why are you doing this? Stop! Don't take me to Krishna. You know I don't want to see him. You know he's a cheater. You know he's a lampat. He's always, right? Lampato. Like, she has offered herself completely to Krishna, but to further please Krishna, enhance his bliss. I was reading this today. It said, full of bliss, I'm witnessing your pastime. Full of bliss, I'm doing this. Full of bliss, right? We are not there to deny the soul of experience of happiness, of joy. Vishnu again is saying full of bliss. I will become most blissful. This is the end of the second verse. Sukhita bhavani. Right? Being chastised by you, Radharani, I will become even more blissful. So then the next verse. It continues from the previous verse. So in his Astakali Lila, he's beginning with this time of day. He's beginning with the pre-nighttime pastimes. We'll just go into the first of these nighttime pastimes because it's very sweet. Without this, I can maybe explain it in brief. Verse 3. Pade nipatya sirasanunayani rustam. Rustam means angry. Tam pratyapanga kalikam apichalayani. Twadvordhvayena sahasa parirambayani. Romancha kanchukavatim avalokayani. Oh, Radhe. Doesn't say Radharani's name, but it's the whole book is to Radharani. When you see, Vaishnava Chakravarti is not on, he doesn't have to call her Radhe, it's just you. It's like instead of saying Radhe, Radhe, it's like you. There's a Vaishnava, Bhakti Jivan Janardhan Maharaj. And you see pictures of him, he's this really big, gruff looking guy. But in Hindi, he would always use the feminine gender. He was like, OG sannyasi transgender. Spiritual. And his spiritual gender is the maidservant Srimati Radhika. All right? So it's not transgender, it's spiritual gender. This body at that point is, he would say, no, I'm a man. He wouldn't say I'm a woman. He said, my body is a man, but my spirit is not. So he would always use the Hindi gender, feminine gender, and people would make fun of him. He's like this, he's this big, old, like, really like intense looking sannyasi. That's why they say Gaudiya Mat sannyasis, they don't crack a smile. Because otherwise, what they're giving is so high, they have to kind of hide it behind this like very stoic facade. Very stoic persona. You know, sometimes you see Prabhupada, he's like super stoic. But he's always laughing and joking inside. So anyhow, he would say, like when we sing Kotaigo Premamoy, he would sing, Madeshwari Radhe, Praneshwari Radhe. You are my heart Ishwari. You are my Pran Ishwari. My. He would use this like possessive case. So that's the qualification to enter this ras, when you have that possessiveness. So, when you thus become angry, so Radharani, so this is the pastime now, the first pastime in this book. Radharani is going to meet with Krishna at this time of day, just the evening now. Krishna is Krishna's a baby boy to Mother Yashoda, so he goes to bed early. Like Purnima, baby Purnima. So like Krishna goes to bed, like he's been out grazing the cows all day long, doing his seva. So he's like, I'm so tired. He has his dinner, he hangs out with Nanda and Yashoda. He's like, I'm so tired, he's falling asleep. So then she brings him to his bed already like this time, like just before it gets dark. The really like deep into dusk. Krishna lays down, pretends to sleep, and then immediately goes to the appointed meeting place. Krishna arrives first. Why? It's important that he waits for Radharani. If Radharani arrives first, then Krishna may or may not come. You understand? So in the realm of the heart, you say, no. Krishna, once you arrive, like if you see Krishna in the mirror of your heart, you say, okay, good. Now you wait there. Let me go and bring Radharani. You understand? So now, Chaito Darpana, okay, the heart is cleansed. In your visualization, the power of visualization, you say, okay, now I see Krishna in my heart. Okay, there's a beautiful seat for you ready. A beautiful flower seat. You know, here's some refreshments. Here's some drinks. You might have to wait a while. Who knows? I don't know if she'll come and see you today or not. You wait, sit peacefully. All right? You are Radha-Raman. You are Radha-Raman, like Radha-Raman in Vrindavan. He's alone, waiting for Radharani. That is Radha-Raman. In Vrindavan is where Radha-Raman, Krishna with Radha in his heart, is now waiting for Radha in the kunj that is hers. That is Radhe Kunj. So in Radhe Kunj, Krishna is waiting alone. And his name is Radha-Raman, the lover of Radha. Not Radha's beloved. Right? She is the dominant partner in this. Why? He is waiting for her. So Krishna appears in the realm of your heart. He says, okay, Swagatam, Suswagatam, welcome Krishna, here's your seat. Please sit, here's some drink, right? I'll wash your feet, idam padyam, right? First you chant Krishna mantra, Gopal mantra, then Kam Gayatri. So why does Gopal mantra come first? Okay, Gopal mantra, Krishna, have a seat, Swagatam, welcome, let me wash your feet, idam padyam, let me give you a drink, idam achamaniyam, let me give you something very tasty, esa madhuparika. Let me wash your mouth, idam achamaniyam, right? Now wait. And now I'll go to bring Srimati Radhika. At that point, when Radharani comes, then Radharani stops. I don't want to see him. Why? She makes Krishna sweat. Radharani is the only one who can make Krishna sweat. Said even he was wrestling Chanur and Mustika, the most powerful wrestlers in the whole world, and he had no sweat. Krishna wasn't sweating. They were sweating. But Radharani alone, she is such a wrestler that even without touching her, Krishna starts to sweat. This is the story in Bandirvan. Radharani wrestling Krishna. Even coming 20 feet away from Krishna begins to sweat. So Krishna is sweating now. She's saying, I won't go. And then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in the Manjari form brings Radharani to Krishna while Radharani is scolding her. And then she bows at the feet of Srimati Radhika saying, oh, when you thus become angry, I will place my head at your lotus feet and offer you my prayers. I will show myself very humble. Oh, Radharani, please forgive me, please forgive me, please forgive me, like this. Then I will direct your crooked glance, which is like an unopened flower bud, towards Shri Krishna. So Radharani's eyes are like beautiful lotus flowers. Beautiful, beautiful lotus petals. Lotus petals. But she said, no, I'm not going to direct your lotus petal-like glance. Your sidelong glance is going to be very crooked, like a flower bud that has not opened. Manjari. Flower bud, closed. Radharani, so as she's offering pranam, please forgive me, please forgive me, please forgive me. He's saying, just look. Maybe you want to meet with Krishna too. Radharani has to maintain her contrary mood. So she can blame someone, the Manjari. Right? She can blame the Manjari, but she still wants to meet with Krishna, and she knows it's an eventuality. Eventually she will meet with Krishna. So then she looks towards Krishna with a crooked sidelong glance, like an unopened flower bud, which means, unopened flower means very reserved, very chaste. No. When a woman is very chaste, no, I'm not open, I'm not blossoming for you. So, your blooming lotus eyes have contracted like a flower bud due to your feeling of contrariness upon seeing Krishna. However, after praying to you when you chastise me, then I will beseech you to cast a sidelong glance in this direction. Oh Radharani, please give one sidelong glance to Krishna. Then, as you're glancing towards Krishna, I will take your arms and wrap them around Krishna. She pulled her right up to Krishna, and Krishna is being very patient, right? Krishna is fully under control. It's called Dhir Lalit Nayaka. Fully under control lover, Krishna. By the power of the Manjaris. By the Radharani's desire through them, right? Gurudev said today you have to become like a flute. Empty of all separate interests, so that you get to fully experience the nectar of Krishna's lips and the beauty of his lotus face. The flute is also Manjari Bhav. Anyhow, Purnima's ready for bed almost. Okay, we'll just get through this two more verses. So I've brought you right to Krishna, and then you're scolding me in front of Krishna, and I'm praying for forgiveness, and then saying, oh, just look one time, and you're looking at Krishna with crooked eyes. And then as you're looking at Krishna with crooked eyes, I take your arms and wrap them around Krishna. I will quickly make your arms embrace him, very quickly, right? So you don't have chance. Radharani is like languid. It means very like stunned in Krishna's beauty and very relaxed, but also feeling all these mixed emotions. So then very quickly, I'll take your arms and put them around Krishna. At that point, your entire body will thrill in ecstasy. Full of bliss, I will gaze at you in that condition. You see? These words come right after each other. You will thrill in ecstasy, and then full of bliss, I will gaze upon you. See? You're experiencing what she is experiencing. That is what we call philopathy. That's how we talked about last class, right? Not telepathy, not oneness of thought. Thought is very Krishna-oriented. Your thoughts, I'm overthinking. Too much Purush Bhav. When you learn to feel more, I was saying Manmana Bhava. The gopis feel Krishna more in their hearts and their minds. Not think of Krishna more. You say, Krishna says, think of me more. The gopis say, we think of you too much. We don't want to think. You're feeling that, full of bliss, experiencing what, right? Again, it's in the mirror of your heart. And then the mirror's gone. I'm just seeing you. Where am I? I am seeing you. I am experiencing your sweet meeting. I will gaze at you in this condition. One more verse or Gaur Premanandi? Okay. Now Krishna speaks to Sri Radha. Krishna will say to you, Prane priye kusumatalpamalankuru tvam iti achutokti makarandarasam dhayani mamuncha madhavasatim iti gadgadhardra vacha tavitya nikatam harimakshipani. Krishna will say to you, O beloved of my life, please decorate this flower bed. So they're standing next to their flower bed. I will relish, this is prepared by the Manjaris. Why? It's your heart, you have to prepare the bed. Krishna's not going to do it for you. Radharani's not going to do it for you. You prepare the flower bed. I will relish those nectarian words. Why? Is Krishna speaking to Radharani, speaking to you? Who knows? Please decorate this flower bed would mean that Krishna is praying to Radharani to decorate the flower bed with herself. Make sense? Right? If she is sitting on the flower bed, then the flower bed is decorated. I will relish these nectarian words of Krishna, and with a faltering voice and heart-melting words, I will say, O Madhava, do not let go of this chaste woman. Keep her here in your arms. In this way, I will then nudge Krishna even closer to you. See how he'll say Krishna, but he won't even say Radharani's name, like the Bhagavatam. Sukadeva Goswami never said Radharani's name. So in all these verses, he'll say Krishna, Madhava, but he won't say Radharani's name. He'll just say you. I will then nudge Krishna even closer to you. When Krishna, this is verse 5. I want to get to this verse where it's very sweet. I want to get to the verse where Krishna calls the Mandri a villain. It's very sweet. So I'll just read through these verses, okay? Or we can just stop for next time, maybe. Because I don't want to just read through them. I also don't want to... this is what happens. This is the fault of your house. All right, one more verse. When Krishna confines you to his chest, meaning when you remain caught in the trap of his arms. So the Mandri is saying, Radharani wanted to meet with you. That's what she's not saying, but understanding. Radharani wanted to meet with Krishna, but had to show contrary mood. So turning away from Krishna, the Mandri brought her to Krishna. And then accepted being scolded by Radharani to show Radharani still contrary. And then had Radharani turn towards Krishna and give a crooked sidelong glance. And then as she did that, then the Mandri put Radharani's hands around Krishna. And then Krishna is saying, oh, please decorate this beautiful flower bed. But the Mandri wants to establish again the superiority of Radharani. So to establish the superiority of Radharani in her position over Krishna, Radharani is Swadhina Bhartrika, the controlling partner, and Krishna is Dear Lalit Nayaka, being controlled by Radharani. So Krishna is saying, decorate the bed. Why? That's not Radharani's job. Therefore, the Mandri said, no. Even more tightly, because if she cannot tell Radharani, embrace Krishna. She has to tell Krishna, embrace Radharani more tightly, don't let her go. Otherwise, she may run away. O Madhava, do not let go of this chaste woman. Keep her in your arms. I will then push Krishna even closer to you. When Krishna confines you to his chest, then, what does that mean? It means, in the brackets, the commentator is saying, you remain caught in the trap of his arms. Despite trying to push away from Krishna, Krishna is holding you in his arms. Despite your trying to separate yourself from him, then you will make tears of joy constantly flow from your eyes, and drops of perspiration will beautify your transcendental form, all due to your contrary nature. At that point, the tresses of your hair will open and scatter here and there. Your braid will open, and the knot of your garments will loosen. Seeing you in such a state, I will consider my birth completely successful. Jai Jai Shri Radha Swami. There's a really, really sweet verse coming up, but anyhow, maybe that's the time to end it. I'll give a teaser for a future class. There's a really sweet, so I'll just give a teaser. I won't even read from the verse. I'll just give a really quick teaser for next time, in 1 month. Maybe we'll do this class at a yoga studio in Kansas City. Be like, are you ready? I mean, I gave the Mahamantra class I gave in Australia was a yoga studio. So, it's described that this is happening before the Rasa Lila every night, right? That's the eternal pastimes. So every night the Vaishnavas experience Rasa Lila, right? They're going on. So it's at even if it's like, because it's not one thing they experience, we don't want to limit it to that. I remember we were having a Janmashtami program in Vrindavan, and someone was giving this Astakali Lila class, Krishna's daily pastimes, like this. And Prabhuji was like, "Hut, you don't know anything. Like you think Krishna and Radharani is limited to this like little thing and they do that forever all over and over and over." And it's like, no, this is one like dimension that the Vaishnavas will experience and is going on eternally and is perfect. But then there's unlimited variety of a limited experience. So anyhow, in this heart like Kunj of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, why is it experienced like that? Because he established Parakiyavad, Parakiya Tattva, and they tried to kill him for it, other scholars. And we see this now in Vrindavan. Everywhere they're showing Radha-Krishna married, Radha-Krishna married. If Radha-Krishna are married, they don't experience this bliss of their Radharani's man. If Radharani is married to Krishna, how does she get to be in man? Krishna's like, you're my wife. How does Radharani get to establish her position of supreme authority over Krishna? And it's like, there's the perverted reflection of that in this world. What is that? That the woman chooses her partner. And even after she's chosen her partner in a pure relationship, like she chooses whether to meet with him or not. Is this true or not? I've heard of it. Right? So in that supreme reality, how can Radharani be in her supreme dominant role? Radharani is that aspect of the goddess who's always, the heroine, the Naika, who is controlling her beloved. Rukmini is not, Satyabhama is not, the queens are not, Kubja is not, Sita is not, Lakshmi is not. Lakshmi is always massaging Vishnu's feet. That means she's always, Radharani criticizes Lakshmi that how is Lakshmi so foolish to serve you when you are such a lampat, right? That is not Lakshmi, that is not Sita. Only Radharani is supreme. So how is that? Through her contrary mood. And how is that contrary mood always established in its prominence? Through Parakya Tattva, through that indirect love. That is direct and indirect. Indirect love is Parakya. Direct love, Swakya. After some time it becomes okay, sometimes we'll have it. It's like there's many preparations, the thing you like all the time. Once in a while we want Swakya mood, so therefore they appear and they marry themselves. They marry each other. Sometimes. But what Nitya Lila is not Parakya, is Parakya, not Swakya. Swakya is not Nitya Lila. Sometimes we want to experience married love. So we wed. That's Swakya, that's like Naimatik. In the highest level of Goloka Vrindavan, Mahaprabhu is describing this to Sanatana Goswami when he talks about Krishna's moons. He said the highest point of the spiritual reality is that Goloka Vrindavan where this tattva is present. This is Lord Chaitanya, Krishna himself describing this reality. He said the highest part of that spiritual existence is that realm of Braj where Krishna is always controlled by the love of Srimati Radhika. So that said, before Rasa Leela now, so Radha-Krishna meet first before Rasa Leela starts in that Nitya Leela. Because Rasa Leela is also part of Nitya Leela. So what happens is Radha, now arranged by the Manjri, Krishna comes to the Kunj, then Radharani is brought, then the Manjri meets them together. Then Krishna says, oh Radharani, please rest upon this, decorate this bed with your divine transcendental form. Radharani is not going to do it of her own. She still has contrary mood, so she says, Krishna, hold her even more tightly. And then it said, when they both, like Krishna decorates the bed, then Radharani, it said after that, when they're meeting, briefly even, but it said that after that, the next verse is praying, when will I again decorate your transcendental form? To conceal any signs of your meeting. This is the Manjri's prayer. Rupi's like, what have I gotten into? Anyhow. His name is Rupa Vilas, so anyhow. I'm telling you this, now I'm going to get you in trouble. Okay, anyhow. This is the instruction I've been given to speak about, so what can I do? It's not my fault. So here it's described that, right, we're like children of the children of Swami Prabhupada, the founder of this mission in the West. And so after 60-something years, this treasure needs to be disclosed. The property of the grandparents is for the grandchildren. So this wealth has to be understood, or at least available. All right? And those who are interested in it will go. Those who are not interested will not come. No problem. So it's described here that the Manjri will conceal the signs of their meeting. As Radha and Krishna are meeting, it's described that the Manjri will be outside the Kunj with a rope that pulls a lever that fans the divine couple. So she's pulling this and it's fanning the divine couple. And afterwards, she's fixing all the decorations on Srimati Radhika's form and Krishna's form. And then immediately, Lalita will enter. And it said Lalita enters with the desire to tease Radharani for meeting with Krishna. But she enters and sees that Radharani is sitting there. Everything is like perfect. It's like she hasn't even met with Krishna. And so Lalita is astonished and thinking, what has happened? So then there's a verse about this. It's a very sweet verse. Maybe I just want to quote it properly. It's very sweet. This is all happening before Rasa Leela and the beginning of the night pastimes. So verse 10 says, observing that the dress, decorations, and ornaments of you and your beloved are scattered in disorder due to Cupid's battle, I will, on the order of Shri Rupa, Ranga, Tulasi, and Rati Manjris, and other Sakis, bring all the items mentioned in the previous verse before you to again decorate you nicely. Seeing you wonderfully dressed from head to foot, Krishna, full of desire, is approaching you to again touch you. So this is what leads to this next part. So Radharani is beautifully, this is like now she's dressed to go to Ras Leela. So Radharani is dressed to go to Ras Leela, Krishna is dressed, now they're ready to go to Ras Leela, to be with everyone. But seeing Radharani beautifully dressed like this, Krishna goes again to meet with her. When I observe this, I will frown with crooked eyebrows, lift my face, and shout at him threatening words. forbidding him to do so. Who has the audacity? This is only we think, Manjari position is small, weak little girl. It's like, seeing Krishna wanting to approach Radharani, then I will shout at him. No, first I will frown with crooked eyebrows, lift my face, and shout at him threatening words, forbidding him to come close to you. Verse 12. After this pastime, Lalita intends to tease Sri Radha and Krishna for their clothes and ornaments being scattered after their sports. When she sees that Radhika's dress and ornaments are not at all in disarray, she will become astonished at the possibility that they have not met with each other. How would it be possible? Seeing her reaction, Krishna will say, "Indeed, Lalita, I was engaged in my efforts to remove the thorn-like chastity of Sri Radha. But this villain," pointing his finger towards me, "this villain prevented me." With these kinds of remarks by Sri Krishna, my heart will constantly fill with nectar. And then this last verse translation. When, to enjoy pastimes in the forest, you come out of the kunj, clinging to Krishna's arm with both your hands and resting your head on his shoulder. So now there's no more man. We've talked about the reason of man and so forth. Now there's no more man. Why? Radharani and Krishna are both very happy. So both of Radharani's hands are in Krishna's arm, and her head is resting on his shoulder. Your lotus face will bloom as you converse with your sakhis. At that time, I will also follow you carrying a fan in my hand. Lord Premanandi, Hari Hari Vo, Vanchakalpadriva Sikripa Sindhya Lidanang Bhavane Pyo Vaishnavyo.